Hi, I am Michael Bean, and this is your myfreeactingclass.com lesson for Wednesday, September the 2nd. Today we are going to be talking about story, and we're going to be going over our 10 questions to understand story. So I'm going to be relying on you to answer some of those good questions for me. We'll also be going over this week's Actors Challenge. It was super satisfying last week to see a bunch of you record this and send it in. And so I am going to continue doing this for at least the next couple of weeks and just see if it still feels useful to anyone. Now, I rely on your feedback. So if you were like, actually, watching the Actors Challenge, like watching the details on Monday didn't feel as useful, or there's something else that we'd like to do instead, I need you to email me these things, because otherwise I'm just alone here doing the things that I think are good and looking at your faces and you're all smiling and nodding. And I'm like, okay, great, I guess I'm fine. So I rely on your feedback. Please feel free to send me your thoughts and suggestions. And I will assume that every person who sends me an email, there are 10 more who are thinking it, but just don't have the time to send an email. So your opinions end up more heavily weighted. Today we are going to go over a script from the show NCIS. Some of you probably did the open call for NCIS that came out in, what was that, like April or May? Did any of you do the NCIS open call? Anybody? No? Just me? Okay. Well, I did it. NCIS stands for Naval something, intelligence something. Anyway, well, we'll look it up. I'll show it to you on IMDb. It's a TV show out of LA that's been running forever. And one of the things they did right at the start of the pandemic is they were very early adopters in terms of doing a big open call for tapes. Oh, see, Kevin did show up. Kevin, I told her I'd find you something. This one's a mom, but like she doesn't have to say anything mom-like. We'll just pretend it's a dude when you do it. Would love to see that person, the character, if you're into doing something for us this week. So, jumping right into the work, I've got two characters here. One is a teen and the other is an adult. So I need a couple of volunteers. Who wants to do some reading as we look at the script together? Okay, even Deborah and everybody else is like, meh. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at this. So Eve, you're going to be Emma, and Deborah, you're going to read Nancy. NCIS. IRL, cold open. So this means it's the very start of the episode. Cold open is when there's no credits, they just like poof, jump into something. You can find that out with 10 seconds in a Google search. If you're like, what do those words mean? Maybe it's important. Flash black and white of McGee without a clue. Foof to black. That's the technical term. From black, interior hallway night, close on a teenager's bedroom. Among edgy stickers and music posters, a bold sign reads, "Abandon all hope ye who enter." We hear gunfire and bloody screams from within. Nancy, 40s, in sweaty OR scrubs. That's operating room. Again, 10 seconds in Google. Passes the door. Then returns to listen to the apocalypse coming from inside. This is you, Deborah. Deborah, are you having technical issues?
Here we go. Okay.
Coming back. Here we go.
Okay. It's after 8. You should be finishing homework.
Good. And just a reminder, Deborah, do less.
Okay.
No response. Nancy opens the door. Interior Emma's bedroom continuous. Nancy enters to find Emma. Now this stuff here, I want you to ignore unless you happen to actually be 15 or able to play 15. But if you are a young person, then you will be reading Emma. And if you are an adult, you will be reading Nancy. So Emma, the character Emma, the lines, the script works just fine if you are 8, or if you are 12, or if you are 15, or if you are 18. The reminder from my friend Rekha Sharma, who I interviewed here a couple of months ago, who said that they have so many thousands of people to choose from for an audition that if you get chosen to do a tape or to do an audition, then regardless of what it says on the breakdown, they want you. and I know so many actors who, and I have done it myself, who have looked at a breakdown and said, oh, that's not me. Or that note that it says in the script, that's not me. Well, they have thousands of people they could choose from. If they've chosen you, then regardless of what it says on the paper, they want to see your version of this. And so many conversations can happen after the script is written or after the description of the character that goes out to talent agents is written. You don't know what those conversations are. Just assume that if they're seeing you, they want you. Sorry, back to you, Deborah, right here.
What are you doing in here?
Maintaining a full AP course load. What are you doing in here?
Nancy looks at Emma's desk computer. A video game live stream plays on screen. More gunfire and screams.
Emma, we talked about you playing video games and using your brain. You can't do both at the same time.
Deborah, just a reminder, just do less, okay? Just say the words.
Okay.
Let it be really simple, because
Okay.
What I was saying in Monday's lesson, believability first, expressive
Okay.
distant second. Right?
Okay.
Yes, ultimately we want both, but right now just focus on being as believable as possible, which means like.
Okay. Do you want me to do it over?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Sorry, did I belabor that a little too much?
No, it's okay.
Sorry, back to you, Eve.
Rude, and I'm not playing video games, I'm watching them.
Don't get cute with me. I just got out of a 9-hour surgery and haven't showered yet.
Gross, and I'm not being cute. I'm live streaming. People record themselves playing games and broadcasting it live on the internet. You've heard of internet, right? I put this on in the background. It's calming.
All I see is zombie genocide and a strange man in a little girl's bedroom. That's not calming.
Right, Nancy bends to see that within the video game screen is a webcam feed of Navy Gamer Z, 25, talking to a microphone as he shoots bloody zombies in an ND video game.
Could you get any more old? His name is Navy Gamer Z.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that follow button.
You know this guy?
Not personally. I'm one of his 200,000 subs.
Now, there are two moments here. One up here, off Mom's blank look. Off Mom's blank look. Both of those, if you were the actor playing Emma, you would have to make sure that you took the beat, see the mom, react to the blank look before you say the line. So many actors will just jump right to the next line and skip this note. This note is intended to be part of the story. Sorry, Eve, back to you.
Subscribers, Betty White.
Now, in order to understand why this is a tease, or why this is insulting to the mom, 10 seconds in Google. And so if you choose to do Emma, really 10 seconds in Google, who is Betty White? So that you understand why that is, she's saying that to tease the mom.
Whatever happened to listening to music while you study? Honey, this is unhealthy. I'm a doctor.
You're a podiatrist.
It's podiatrist. Now,
Podiatrist.
now again, how could we expect somebody who's 12, or 15, to know this? I don't think you could. So remind me to show you Google Translate later. Keep going.
Yes, where's your PhD?
I don't need one to know there's no scientific link between video game violence and actual
Right.
violence.
Emma tosses the homework and gets in Mom's face. Bang, bang, bang. More gunfire from the computer, but these shots were louder. Emma and Nancy bend to see Navy Gamer Zed in his gaming chair with 3 bullet wounds in his chest.
See, these games are getting so realistic.
Mom, I just told you that's not part of the game. That's him in real life.
Nope. If it's written this way, you say it this way.
Oh, IRL.
Oh, I know that one. IRL means in real life. Oh my God.
Off Navy Gamer Zed, dead on screen, Smash 2, and then we see all this. Agent Leroy, Jethro Gibbs, right? So so this is one of those like investigation service, shows. Basically, this is the setup, and so it's probably, this is the only time that Nancy and Emma show up in the show. So now NCIS isn't going to shoot here in Vancouver, but these sides were being used for open call auditions just a couple of months ago, which means that they were put freely available online and we can do whatever we want with them. These are the kinds of roles that, especially now they're going to cast in Vancouver, right? If this is the only scene that these two characters show up in, they're not going to hire somebody from Los Angeles and bring in somebody from Los Angeles. they're going to bring in somebody from Vancouver and hire somebody from Vancouver because they're not going to want to pay to quarantine somebody in a hotel for 2 weeks. And they're especially not going to want to bring in somebody who's actually 15 and their mom and pay both of them to quarantine in a hotel. So these are the kind of roles that are going to locals, more than ever right now. And recurring roles are going to locals. One of the reasons that I chose this script is because there's some kind of fun banter back and forth between the mom, and the teenager. Right, so we get to see the relationship between the two of them, but also there's this big reveal at the end, right? The reveal in the end is, oh my God, you've just watched somebody, get shot 3 times, live on camera, and you have to react to that. And that is a challenging thing to do, but particularly in a town like Vancouver, where we've got like half of everything is Hallmark movies, and the other half is these sci-fi shows, where things are exploding or people have crazy powers, or people are getting shot. We see that on television so often. The thing to land in your body as an actor, as you're thinking about it, is to actually see that kind of thing happen, or to actually be there when the aliens land, to actually suddenly shoot fire out of your eyeballs, or whatever crazy thing they've asked you to do in the audition. Yes, we've seen it on television, so we're like, okay, yeah, it's kind of a big deal, but also not, because I've seen it a bunch of times. If you are then placing yourself as the person who's real, because if you're the actor, you're treating this as a real place, this is really happening to you, any one of those things is so mind-bendingly insane, that it is a huge deal. And so bringing that kind of stakes to something like this that otherwise seems so familiar is a particular challenge, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted to choose this little script for today. Now Caden Ezekiel, yeah, you might be a little bit young to play the Emma character, but I would say that doesn't stop you from trying it anyway, right? Like Olivia, Christian Reese, like if you want to, be, we'll change the name if you have to, right? So it says Emma, and if you're taping it for yourself, and you don't feel like an Emma, you're like, I'm a dude and I don't want to be called Emma, fine, right? Like it doesn't matter. You change it to Ed or anything, like anything with an E. The name is not important. The important thing is the practice and the banter with the mom, and then recognizing that somebody's just actually been shot and reacting appropriately at the end. I will sometimes have students say in class, oh, but like, if I was really on set, it would be easier, right? In class or at home, I've got to imagine everything, and that's really difficult. And if you are having that thought come up for you, and I give you the reminder that when you're on set, the only thing that is real is the stuff right behind you. Everything else is just a complete disaster, right? There are cameras, there are 40 people watching, there's a crane, there's all sorts of crazy lighting instruments. The only stuff that looks perfectly real is the stuff behind you, because that's what the camera sees. And sometimes you're in a situation where, like, you're in the actual science lab, and so you get some actual science lab to look at. But these days, a lot of the time, they are like, or if you're shooting in a studio, they can move walls, they can lift off the ceiling, often the only stuff that looks right, is behind you. And so you're always doing this game of, I am imagining things here, and I'm keeping my focus regardless of what is around me. And so that thing that you practice at home actually is very relevant for being on set. I've been messaging back and forth with her today, but Leanne Lapp, who taught some of these lessons a couple of months ago, she just finished 2 weeks working on, yes, a Hallmark movie. And she teaches a bunch of the teen classes at Biz. She's going to take on some of the My Free Acting class lessons because, I love these. I'm super on board. Teaching 5 of them a week is not probably sustainable for me. So I am actively recruiting like super awesome people whose opinions I respect to take on some of those. Okay, let's take a quick look at our story questions, right? So the characters' names, again, are Emma and Nancy. And so same thing we did last time. First, do we look at well, you know what? Last time we looked at the younger character. This time let's look at the mom character. So rather than leave it to everyone, let's look at the character of Nancy. So 10 questions for story are: what's the style? What's the writer's story? What's my story? What's the arc? Basically, how does it change over the course of the script? 3 descriptive words for me, 3 descriptive words for them. Script relationship. So what is the style? Well, the first and easiest thing that I always recommend doing here is going to IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. Right here, NCIS, Naval Criminal Investigative Service, action, crime, drama. Great. Now you could watch a little clip from the show, and I would strongly recommend doing that if you're preparing for an audition. So watch an actual clip of the show, but for right now, I think it's probably enough for us to say action, crime, drama. Crime, drama. For this scene, what is the writer's story? Right, what, mom, or parent and teen, who's studying and watching a video game witness a murder live on screen. And then my story, and now we're looking at this from Nancy's perspective. If you're playing Nancy, which part of that story is interesting to you? Do you have a link for the script? I do have a link for the script. So not only do I have a link for the script, Christina, thank you for the prompt, but I also am going to put this on there we go. So script is right there. And the 10 questions is right there. Now I also am going to put the script online right here. I'm just going to update this as soon as class is over so I don't forget. I'm going to put it right here on myfreeactingclass.com, right here at the bottom. Here's the Actors Challenge. So the NCIS script, if you can click on that link in the chat window right now, or you can find it on the myfreeactingclass.com website, within 5 minutes of class being over. But if you want to open that up and do a little multitasking and follow along, please do. So if you are playing Nancy, if you're playing the adult, what's your story? What's the piece of that story that's interesting to you? Right, and this is there's no one answer to this. Back to that basic question that goes, or the quote that leads the 10 questions handout, which is there's no right or wrong. There's just more effective or less effective. And so Kevin, if you're like coming home from work, and chatting up, your teen daughter, who's watching violent video games, like what's your version of the story? What's interesting in terms of like, yeah, I'm gonna bring some of my own understanding of this.
Yeah, I mean, played those games myself growing up, and then you know, how much do you want to limit that, or is it a bad thing, right? And just to make sure they're aware of the violence and not do anything further, right? And just not go rogue, and just start killing little animals or whatever else, right?
Right. Okay. So so Kevin's version, of his story is like, I'm worried about you, or I'm worried about my daughter. Okay. Totally valid. Like I'm worried about my daughter, and then we see a murder. Wow. Okay, that also feeds into my story. Right. Melissa, if you're doing that same story, what's your version of it?
I would be a little bit annoyed because I feel that kids should actually play outside with their bodies.
Right.
And at the end, I would be completely shocked because that was not around when I was a kid.
Right. Exactly. Good. So,
yeah, I'm not that old.
So Melissa is like, I've told her this so many times before, or I think what she actually said was, kids should be playing outside. Right. So hers, really different in that, like, Kevin's is like, yeah, I used to play those, but like, they can be bad for you. We should talk about this. And like, I'm worried about you. And Melissa's is explicitly judgmental. It's like, what are you doing? Like, these are bad and wrong. Both totally valid interpretations. You know, and if you're the teen, obviously you're going to take your own in from it. But I recommend starting with that because you remember what Patrick Sabangi said, like a month or so ago. It's really worth watching his video if you weren't there for the lesson. Very, very skilled actor who's now running a Bachelor of Fine Arts program at Brooklyn University. Like is spearheading the teaching staff there. That you've got a story to tell. That's your job as an actor. You go in and you just focus on your department. He's like, yeah, I just focus on my department. I don't get anxious about all the other stuff. I focus on my department. Loved that. So if you don't know what your story is, then I think you are putting yourself at risk of not knowing your department. And or the Bryan Cranston clip that we watched here, I think last week, where he says, just go in, your job is to go in and do the audition. Like you're not there to get the job. You're just there to go in and show your story. So we've got kids should be playing outside. We've got Reese said it's just a game. Right, yeah, right. He's like, oh, it's just a game. Like, come on. Right, it's no different from listening to music. Well, you're so old. Now, if we go to back here, and we look at, so my story, and then what's the arc? Worried about my daughter, or you should be playing outside, or etc. The arc, maybe, for Melissa's version, is you should be playing outside. Oh my God, I was right. The Kevin's, is I'm worried about my daughter, and now I'm worried about the world, or right. So both of these, have the incident at the end, sort of feeds into it. So goes from worried to freaked out, or sort of whatever language you want to use for it. What descriptive words for you if you're playing the mom character? Right? How does Nancy think of herself?
She's concerned.
Caring, concerned, hardworking. Great. Yeah. Concerned, hardworking. Right. She's tired. She says that I just finished a 9-hour surgery. Descriptive words for the other. How does the mom think about her daughter? Think about the teenager.
I don't know.
It's okay if some of you disagree.
She's wasting some of her time that she could be learning with, is what the mom is thinking, I think.
Right, we're looking for single word adjectives to make it as simple as possible. But I absolutely agree with you, Deborah. I would just want to simplify it, to make sure that you're being really clear with yourself. The script relationship, is mother, daughter. There we go. Childish, right? And these are definitely not the ways Emma thinks of herself. But but maybe her mom thinks of her as childish, or lazy, or not reaching her potential. I think is some, I don't know, the shortest version I can think of what Deborah said, her potential, or something like that. The personalization, what is it in your personal life that helps you empathize with the feelings behind this experience? For the record, that's nobody's business. And if an acting teacher is like, so, this character is connected, this person is the most painful, difficult person in your character's life. Who is that for you? Why don't you tell us that story in front of this acting class? You are always, always, always within your rights, because you are human and you're allowed to have boundaries of saying, yep, I know who that is. Not going to tell that story right now. You take all of the painful things in your life and you turn them into art, and you do not have to use acting class as a therapy space, to share unresolved things that then might be judged or not held appropriately by the people there. That's my opinion. There's a beautiful quote by the artist George Braque, that art is a wound turned to light. I love that quote. right? I think that you cannot move through life without experiencing pain. One of the things you can do with that pain is you can then put it into your stories and let other people know that they are not alone in experiencing pain. This is something that all of us have, and that as artists, that's something we have the opportunity to share. If I am playing Nancy, the mom, what is my objective? What do I want? Well, if I'm Melissa, I want you to go outside. Go outside, right? Or if I'm Kevin, maybe I want her, don't play too much video games. Play too much, or, think critically about this. I don't know, that'd be a trickier one. You're right. So get off the computer. Off the computer. Why, yeah, that's really nice. The Eve, or I want to connect. Right, so even though the words are stressed and complicated, if the intention is, hey, like, I just had this hard day, but like I want to connect with you because then maybe that gives you a good obstacle, right? Like I want to connect with you, but oh, you're doing the irritating thing, but I want to connect. And so then we would turn that into an objective phrase, which might be as simple as, Olivia's, do your homework. Right, if that fired you up, or it could, we could use Kevin's, I'm worried about you, or listen to me. Yeah, see, we're flying through these. God, what did that take us, like 12 minutes? Remember when it used to take 35? We're in the zone now. So again, I'm going to upload that to the website shortly after the lesson is done. And if I get at least 4 of them of either character by Monday, then I will use those as part of the camera lesson on Monday for the review. So that means the deadline for that is, say, midnight on Sunday, so that I have time to look at it. Now, I did want to show you one other thing. Because there was the word podiatrist. And so I don't know if I've showed you this, Doug. I think this is it. That if you go to Google Translate and you put and you look at the script and you're like, podia, how is this word pronounced? Then right here, you get a little microphone icon and you click on it.
Podiatrist.
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 Podiatrist. And it says it for you and you can say it back. So especially if there are complicated technical words, and sometimes those complicated technical words are even like, I've even seen examples where they've misspelled in an audition script. And so I'll put it into Google Translate and they'll be like, oh, actually, like, because this person is using technical language they're not familiar with, the writer has picked the wrong word from the medical dictionary, and that always makes me feel good. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get the real pronunciation of this word. All of that stuff is 10 quick seconds. Hey, Caden, do you have an actual question, or you just want to talk to us? Caden? Caden, you're muted still. You're still muted, buddy. Okay, so that was. Does anybody have a question that they want to ask? Because we're a second after 4 o'clock. Kevin's running to another meeting. Don't play too many video games. Really funny. Great. Well, I hope Kevin didn't get a chance to say, but I hope he does our script. I want to see him getting after his daughter for playing video games. Does anybody have a question about this week's actor challenge? Okay, fantastic. Caden, I know it's been too long since I've had a camera day where we're doing like fun, silly things. I'll try and pull something where like somebody's got to I don't know, run from a real wolf or explode or have psychic powers or something, so that we can do like at least a little bit of messing around in Monday's camera lesson. All right.
You don't have to do that.
you know, I want to look after you. You know, also, you know, I want it to be fun for everybody, not just the people who like words, you know, and, you know, going through scripts and understanding things, right? So you keep showing up. I want to make sure that I include you. Unmute yourselves, you know, and say bye. And like I said, I'll have this posted to myfreeactingclass.com right at the bottom of the page within the next 5 minutes. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.